Hey guys, it's your girl Keri. Today I will be sharing how I put together a seafood themed tablescape for Father's Day. At the end of the video, I will share some of the tips and tricks on how you can achieve a similar look using Dollar Tree items without having to sacrifice style. I had less than 24 hours to come up with the design, clean all of the dishes and flatware, grocery shop, cook, and reset the table for 13 guests, 8 adults and 5 kids. Hence, I did not film the process real time. Instead, I am recreating the tablescape the day after Father's Day dinner, so please excuse any soiled linens and placemats that you might see. I did not get a chance to clean them yet. So, let's get started. Now, my first step in the process is to gather all of the items that I have around my home that might fit the theme. And in this case, I did not purchase anything. I used everything that I already had. And if you've been with me for a while, one of my first videos was showing you my coastal collection. And I shared all of the dishes that I had in the coastal theme. So I just went to my coastal section where I keep all of my coastal theme items and just pulled some items to put this tablescape together. I'm not going to go over every item on this tablescape, but I am going to point out some budget-friendly options because a lot of times it does not take a lot of money to achieve a high-end or a really nice look. For example, let's take these little condiment dishes that are nested in this wicker basket. These wicker baskets are from Crate and Barrel, and as you know, Crate and Barrel can be a little bit pricey. You could expect to pay anywhere from $10 to $15 for something like this in Crate and Barrel. And in contrast, look at this ceramic condiment dish. It also sets in a wicker basket or wicker sleeve, and this one is much bigger than Crate and Barrel one, but I picked this up from Ross. Now, it originally retailed $2.99, but I got it on clearance for 49 cents. And these I picked up from a thrift store for $1 each. So again, you know, in terms of quality, you couldn't tell the difference between the Ross items and the Crate and Barrel items. And for those of you who haven't been with me for a while, these are some really cute napkin rings that I picked up on clearance from Hobby Lobby, which I shared in my coastal haul years ago. These are some seahorse spreaders that are just so adorable. These are from World Market. Actually, all of the seahorse themed servingware is from World Market. Here are my lobster serving bowls, and I picked those up on clearance for $1.98. I thought that was quite a steal. And right here I have this humongous seashell, and what I did this particular time for my setup is I filled it with ice and had fresh shrimp cocktail set on top of the bed of ice. Now I love that crushed ice look, like when you go to restaurants when they put the crushed ice out and the seafood on top of it, whether it be shrimp or oysters. And one of the tips I've learned years ago is that the Sonic near my home, you can go there and buy bags of ice, and they give you that crushed up ice that looks like the restaurant, the little small crushed up ice that you can put in your vessels for entertaining when you're doing seafood. So I love that. So if you have a Sonic near you, you can do that. If not, you can call your ice person that usually delivers to restaurants and things like that, but it's typically cheaper to just go ahead and buy the bag from Sonic. And here are the plates that I chose to use. These came from my coastal haul. They have the starfish on them. Here is a really cute butter dish with the seashells on top, and I just added some butter to that for our Cheddar Bay biscuits. Over here is just a cute little seashell that I picked up from a thrift store, and I'm using this to put our spinach artichoke dip in there. And here we have just a napkin holder. This can go right next to the drinks, and you just, you know, it has a little seashell to weight down the napkins, a little seashell weight. I thought that was really cute. And down here at the far end we have our linens, and we have our string seashell. These right here, if you have the patience and time, if you go to the beach, you can collect shells, or you can purchase some of the shells from Dollar Tree or various different craft stores and actually make this yourself. It's just thick twine rope, and then you just drill a little hole in the seashells and attach it to the rope. These are quite expensive. They run about $100 or so, and this one is about 3 feet long. So if a table is normally about 6 feet and you want the entire length of the table, you're going to need 2 of them, and you're roughly looking at spending about $200 retail to have one of these. I managed to get mine on a deep clearance. And then over here, I just have some greenery. I just keep greenery, in a stash here and use it over and over for many of my events and even decorating around my home. So let's get started with the Tablescape setup. So here's my starting point. I placed a remnant of coastal fabric on top of my standard white linen tablecloth. Tip: if you do not have enough fabric to make an entire tablecloth, or you're looking for ways to save a little bit of money, place your standard tablecloth on the table and add a runner using your focal point fabric. Side note, I don't think I've shared this before, but it's an important step. Prior to putting on your tablecloth, place a table pad on the table first to protect your table from heat, liquids, and scratches. You can find these at any home store. I will leave a link in the description box below, just in case you would like to purchase it online. And here's a quick hack. Because the table pad is heat resistant, you can iron your linens right on the table. I didn't do that this go around because I was pressed for time, and I knew in the end, after the table was set, most all of the wrinkles would have been covered. Now my next step is to concentrate on my centerpiece. So I'm going to take this huge string of shells, and that's going to anchor my table, and that's going to be my centerpiece. Now here's our centerpiece, our string of shells in the center. After each element I add to my table, I take a step back. Now when I step back and look at this, I'm like, the shells don't look that great, although it's an awesome piece. It's because it's kind of drowning out or fading into the tablecloth, and number 2, it's one-dimensional. Have enough dimension. It's just sitting flat on a table. So the shells are a great starting point, but I need to build those shells up because they're missing something. They look too flat. Now some of you might say, but Keri, that looks great. I don't know what you mean. I'm going to leave it like this for now, just to show you what I mean, and I'm going to continue to build my tablescape without beefing up this set of shells until the very end. My next step was to flank 2 lanterns on either side of the shells. They kind of have the netted twine, so I thought that would be a perfect match for a coastal themed dinner. And inside there, I don't know if you can see this, but I just add some moss. You guys know I love moss, reuse it for everything. And then I've added some beach shells and a candle. Now you can pick up shells from the Dollar Tree. They have 2 types of shells. You have the shells like this that are all just regular uniform white seashells. I guess these are kind of like clam shells. And then you can pick up the variety pack. And as you can see, I've used most of these already, that has the regular clam shells and all of these other types of shells in neutral shades. And if you look in here, you'll see all the different colors and textures of the seashells. So next I'm going to add our placemats, and I picked these up years ago from Target Dollar Spot. And if you watched my dupes Thanksgiving tablescape video, it was a Pottery Barn Williams-Sonoma dupes. These are the same placemats, and I thought they would work really well with this theme because they kind of remind me of a sand dollar or some sort of sea creature type theme. So I'm going to put these placemats all around the table. And a quick little tip at the head table seat, don't mind the little spots right there. Again, this table is a recreation of last night, so this is after we've eaten and I've cleaned off the table. But what you want to do, I'm going to use that spot of grease as my focal point. What you're going to do is make sure if you double up on using like a linen tablecloth and a piece of fabric on top, you want to make sure you fold the fabric in far enough to fit the entire placemat or charger of the head table so that it's not touching or bumping or anything like that. So I would do that. And another tip is when you use fabric to layer on top of your tables, make sure you take that iron and run a nice crease down it. You do not have to sew it or stitch it or anything like that, because you might want to use the fabric for something later. But if you have a really good hot iron, you could really steam that crease down and it will look like it's sewn down. And like I said, most of the times when I'm decorating my tables, I have no idea what I'm going to come up with. So you might say, Keri, you're so crazy for re-recording this. Why didn't you just record it while you're doing it? I don't know what I'm doing and I'm in my zone, so I just know what the final outcome is. So it's almost impossible for me to record while I'm doing. So now I'm going to add these chargers that I got from Pier 1 years ago. And I thought these would fit in nicely and would be appropriate because now these kind of remind me of kind of waves of like the ocean or some sort of sea urchin or creature. But I think these would be perfect for this tablescape. So I'm going to lay these on top of our mats. And as you can see, here's a lot of grease stains and spots from dinner last night. And I probably should let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a cleanup video, like how I clear everything out, clean different things up, like different stains, candle wax, and things like that after you're entertaining. Because I think we always show the tablescape and how beautiful things are, but we don't show when things break or how to fix things. So let me know if you're interested in something like that. But for right now, I'm going to cover that stain up with this charger. And I think that looks really nice. Now, one of the things I found, I have 8 of these to seat my table of 8, but for some reason, I guess, I don't know if I was doing a video or something like that, I could only place my hand on 6 of them last night. And I just said, okay, I'm just going to have to go with the flow and improvise. We'll just do 6. The table setting at the head table would be a little bit different, but we're going to roll with the 6 that we have here. And that's what I think makes my table so much more interesting, is when I mix and match and come up with different things because I'm lacking something. Everything's not the same. Everything's not matchy-matchy. And I think that adds visual interest. So after our chargers, we're going to add our plates. Now here's another concept of mixing and matching. I was only able to find 6 of these plates when I got them on clearance, and likewise for these plates here. Ideally, I would have loved to have found 8 of each so that my setting would look like that, but I don't have that. What am I going to do? I'm going to just improvise. So on the 6 place settings that are not the head table, each one will get one with a starfish, and the head table will just get the detailed rim plate. Next up was my flatware option. So I had 4 options to choose from that I thought would look really well with this table. If you have not seen my flatware collection and how I store all of my entertaining pieces, I will leave the link to that video below. So here are the 4 patterns, and I chose this sailor's anchor, and then I decided against using this particular piece because I thought it would go more with a nautical feel, not necessarily this coastal feel. So that one was out. Then I chose this like off-white bone colored set. Really liked it with this setup, but the problem is I only had a service for 4 in this set, and I didn't have anything that I could mix and match with this that would look good. So this option was out. Then I thought this hammered metal would be a nice option, but in the end I decided to go with this antique looking version right here. Now if you wanted to, this would be a much more affordable option. These hammered metal forks and knife set came from the Dollar Tree. So remember, fork on the left, knife on the right, facing inward. And that's all we're going to have because we're not having any soups. We're not having multiple courses. We're just doing a basic casual Father's Day dinner. So just a fork and knife is required. I'm going to repeat this 7 more times. So next up is our drinkware. I decided to opt for these drink glasses with the sleeve. It's a very casual look, but it also fits in with this beachy coastal theme. And also we were not serving any alcoholic drinks or any drinks, beverages for that matter, other than sparkling water. My husband and I are on this health kick, and we're trying to do really good without drinking alcoholic drinks or drinking any of our calories. So we told our guests that, hey, we're going to be serving sparkling water. If you want something else to drink, then you can bring your own drink. So since we weren't having any wine or anything like that, I thought these were the perfect glasses to mix in with the theme. And I only have 6 of these as well, so the head table will get something different. We did tell our guests that they could go downstairs in our basement and take anything that they wanted from the bar, but we didn't have any mixers or juices to mix with them, so they could bring their own juices. A lot of people love the peach Ciroc, so the peach Ciroc, they have that, and they also kill what was left of the pineapple Ciroc and also what was left of the mango Ciroc. We're kind of a Ciroc family, and I love all of the flavors. To place our glass directly above the tip of the knife, I'm going to repeat that 7 more times. So then I take a step back and look at how things are coming along, and our table is shaping up. Now it's time to add our napkins and napkin rings. So I decided to mix and match our napkin rings and our napkins as well. So I'm going to go with these napkin rings right here. I have 4 of these, and then these beautiful napkins with the pearl in the center. I have 4 of these as well. And these kind of remind me of like a sand dollar or something like that. And then the pearl, you will find the pearl inside of an oyster, so that's seafood-like. And the ladies will get these napkin rings, and the men will get those. Now here are our napkins. I chose a linen napkin in the tan color for the head seat, since the head seat is a little bit different. And then these bone colored, like yellow colored, they matched the chargers really well for all of the other place settings. Now, if you don't have napkin rings, if you purchase those bags of seashells from the Dollar Tree, what you could do is just take some twine, and again, you can get twine very cheaply from the Dollar Tree, and affix one of these seashells to that twine and kind of wrap it around your napkin, and you'll have yourself a really nice nautical napkin ring. And here's what I'm talking about with the twine and the seashell as your napkin ring. And again, if you're on a tight budget, what you could do, you could make 8 of these for your place setting for less than 50 cents total for all 8. That's your budget. You just have to get creative. And I think that's really cute, and honestly, it doesn't detract at all. It doesn't look cheap at all with the rest of the tablescape. Again, go for natural items. You always hear me say natural things do not look cheap. So this is where we are. And as you can see, it looks rather nice, but again, if you focus on the center, it looks empty. It looks like something's missing. We're losing our gorgeous stringed seashells. It's getting lost in that tablecloth, and there's just so much like sparse space in between the lanterns and the seashell. I have to do something, and this is what I do with all of my tables. I always take a step back and look at what's not working. So what I think I'm going to do is kind of build up those shells by adding some greenery. So I've laid out a bed of green vines, and I've used these on my tables and inside vessels many times over. So I kind of just stretched it out and made an oval, the length of the seashell strand. And now what I'm going to do is lay the seashells on top of that. I think that will give it the punch that I am looking for to make this tablescape pop. Oh my, look at that. Look how just by adding a little bit of greenery, we have elevated our entire centerpiece. It looks wonderful, at least to me. I don't know if you guys would notice small details like that, but I love this, greenery that I chose. This is artificial, it's faux, but it kind of reminds me of seaweed and something that you would find out in the ocean. So it blends in nicely with the entire theme. And now my seashell strand looks perfect on this table. It's not getting lost in the tablecloth, and the entire theme comes to life. So now all I have left to do is add those finishing touches that my tablescapes have become known for. And we just have some butter inside, and that's for our Cheddar Bay biscuits. I'm going to add our serving dishes for Parmesan cheese to go on top of our entree, and we're going to put one at each end of the table. And here's one of my favorite things. These DIY salt cellars made out of seashells. I absolutely love them. I just add the pepper and the salt. And let's look closely. Isn't this a really cute? It's a seashell salt cellar spoon. It's just a mini spoon to dip out your salt. Look how small it is. It fits in the palm of my hand. So, so, so cute. You know, you keep your salt and pepper together. And I just think that's a gorgeous addition. And another DIY that I love are these seashell place card holders. And what I did was just hot glue 2 shells together so that I could have a little lip inside to stick my name tag under. And then I took one of those vase filler marbles from the Dollar Tree and hot glued it to the bottom so that there would be a steady base for my place card setting. And I just love how the place card setting turned out. I did not get to use them last night because I didn't have enough time to make them, but I just made one just in case one of you guys decide to do a seafood theme tablescape. I thought this would be a fun addition to it if you have the time to plan it all out. These seashell name card holders could also be used to place your food items in them. So if you stuck this out in front of each food item at your buffet. I'm going to add our seahorse serving spoon here for this dish right here, and when it's time to eat we'll just take this lid off and we'll leave the spoon inside of the serving dish so that we can continuously scoop out. And I did the exact same thing at the other end of the table. Now you might say to yourself, Keri, this tablescape is nice and all, but I don't want to invest in a whole bunch of coastal tabletop items that I'm only going to use a couple of times. Or you might be saying, Keri, that's really nice and all, but I don't have the money to invest that much into a tablescape. So I'm going to do a coastal theme remix and show you how you can achieve a similar look for less. So let's look at our high-end table setting. So this table setting right here, as is, if you wanted to get everything shown on this table at retail value, it's $70. Now I'm going to show you how to get a similar effect for 90% off. That's right, $7. So everything in this setup is $1 each. These placemats, Target Dollar Spot for $1. These plates, Dollar Tree, you guys saw them over and over again. These melamine plates right here, clearance at Pier 1 for under $1. This hammered metal cutlery, again, Dollar Tree. The wine glass from Dollar Tree. And the napkin, again, you can find these linen and cotton napkins for about $1 a piece. And then the twine and the little shells, I did not add into the cost because you get an entire bag of items for $1. So each of these items would probably be under a nickel a piece. But again, just tying a little bit of twine with a seashell on it gives you that coastal feel without having to make everything else coastal. These items can be broken all apart and used in a variety of different tablescapes and ways. You can just add that coastal in by doing small DIYs, by taking shells and making your own place cards to add that special little touch. Again, over here, instead of having those really large shells to make your salt cellars, you can use the shells that were in your Dollar Tree bag of seashells, pour a little salt in there, and have an individual salt and pepper server. And again, it's just about being creative. It's not about how much money you have, because I think both table settings are equally as beautiful, and if you have guests over, they will still feel special because you took the time to put together something really, really nice. And just remember, the more you add to your table, the more it's going to add to the cost. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'm going to keep calm and carry on. Bye guys.